Welcome to Psyche and Spirit, meeting of mind and soul. I'm Rev Neal, Minister at Unity of Payson, and
I'm Donna Steckel, Dr. Steckel, retired psychologist, licensed Unity teacher.
So we're here today to share with you a couple of perspectives on a topic that we've been working with. It's the theme at Unity of Payson for the month of July. And we are taking one aspect of that theme and going to discuss it today. So, PNS is that kind of discussion, taking both perspectives and seeing how they work together.
The psychological and the spiritual.
Well, you can guess who's handling which. That's not hard. So we're going to the theme this month, and particularly in this discussion, of being here now, being in the present moment awareness. And that leads to the idea of mindfulness and the tools that we have to work with in mindfulness is mindfulness meditation. So those are some of the things we'll be covering today, and we'll do a little back and forth on that theme and that topic. Donna, you shared with me a really nice story, and I see you have that big fat book there that has that story in it. Can you share that? I think it's a great way to introduce it.
Yeah, sure. This is called Coming to Our Senses, and it's by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And I originally found this book at the local library, and I fell in love with it, so I had to buy a copy. It's over 600 pages long. And Dr. Zinn is, he is the director of the Stress Reduction Clinic, and he does a lot of work about mindfulness. And this is the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. So he also wrote a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. And that's true. We can't take the geographical cure because we take ourselves with us wherever we go, right? So anyway, in this book, he writes about a Zen master who began his talks by taking this gnarled, twisted, highly polished tree branch, which he sometimes leaned on. He leaned his chin on it while he was giving his talks, and he held it up in the air horizontally, and he said to his group, he bellowed, "Do you see this?" There was a long silence and puzzled looks. Then he'd bang it straight down on the table in front of him with a loud whack and ask, "Do you hear this?" Long silence and more puzzled looks. Then he'd begin his talk. And often he didn't explain what that opening was about, but it became more clear as he spoke. Meditation is not about thinking at all. It is about keeping things simple, right now, in this moment. Do you see? Do you hear? This hearing, this seeing, when unadorned, is what Jon Kabat-Zinn calls recovery of the original mind. And it is already here. It is already ours. It is observation without evaluation. Just the seeing before thinking creeps in. You know, thoughts like, what did he mean by that? Of course I see it. I wonder where he got that stick. It would be nice to have a stick like that. Wonder if anybody else gets what he's doing. And just the hearing before the thoughts like, that's a peculiar way to start. Does he think we are deaf? That was really loud. I wonder if he made a mark in the table. Doesn't he care about other people's property? So Zen goes on to say, do you see? We hardly ever just see. We see our concepts rather than the stick. Do you hear? We hardly ever just hear. We hear our concepts rather than the thwack. You know, if you did a little 1 minute listening meditation, and then we came back and I said, well, what did you hear? You would tell me, you wouldn't tell me what you heard, you'd tell me your concepts, most likely, because I've done this before. You'd say, I heard the fan worry, or I heard the cat's bell, or I heard the cat meowing. But all of those are concepts. They're not really what you heard. If you tell us what you heard, you might say, I heard rrrr, or you might say, I heard thwack, thwack. You know, that's what you really heard, not the concepts. It's a level behind our actual experience. And that's how we typically relate to the world. We don't relate directly with our experience. And so mindfulness helps us get back to the garden and do that.
Donna, I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Oh, I love you, of course. Donna and I are husband and wife. If you don't know, well, you probably can figure it out. I love the way you started with that little introduction in the book, that story. We're talking about, again, present moment awareness. We're so often inclined to stay in the past or jump ahead into the future. If we were to take a look at our thoughts, we would find that the great majority of them are either past or future, and very few of them are in the present moment. And the present moment is that very sweet spot, that quiet, holy, sweet spot, in which we know who we are more fully, in which we know what is ours to do. We'll talk about that a little bit today, but I want to go on with what was alluded to as Donna spoke, and that is mindfulness meditation. It's those quiet times. And Donna, tell us how that connects with the present moment awareness that we've been talking about.
Okay, so from a spiritual perspective, I did some research, and studies show that activating the right hemisphere of the brain can lead us to feelings of connectedness and even omnipresence, which is a sense that there's presence everywhere, all around us. Through mindfulness meditation, a person also experiences moments of unity with their surroundings and feels a connection to everything and to the world even, which is beautiful because that can really give us lots of benefits, especially, you know, with empathy and kindness and understanding when we have that connection. And oneness, which I think you might want to say something about.
I might want to say a little something about that. So easy in our world to think of ourselves as separate. We're proud of our unique identity. We hold on to it and won't let it go, but we fail to remember many times that our unique identity is important, but it's one piece of a great big puzzle. We're one piece and we're connected with all of the rest of that puzzle. If we think of the divine, it's easy to say, well, I'm one with the divine. And although that takes some adjustment to maybe traditional thinking, it's something we can grab a hold of. But then we begin to think, but that divine is connected with everyone else. So are we not connected? Well, yes, indeed we are. And so when we affirm that we are one, it's an affirmation that means we, though not aware of it, are connected with all of creation, with all that is. I love that oneness, but that oneness is similar to our nowness. Be here now, what a simple phrase, that present moment awareness. But we have a nowness if we will quiet ourselves enough to find that. And in that nowness, just like the oneness, we find that we're connected to every facet of our own being in that nowness. Every hurt of the past, every fantasy about the future, all of that is connected in our nowness. So that oneness is critical to the peace that passes all understanding that we sometimes talk about. Being in that quiet place, unaffected by all of the other trivia, all of the other work, all of the other plans that are part of our life on the human level. But being in that place, that quiet place, that holy place of an understanding and awareness that I am here now. I am here now. A creation of the divine, connected with the divine and all that is. When we can absorb that into our understanding, it makes a huge, huge difference. And we do that, of course, through the quietness or meditation. In Unity, we talk about that often. And usually we start that by putting aside thoughts, by just concentrating on breathing and then going into that quiet place and opening our heart to what may be given to us in that place of quiet.
I just wanted to give a brief definition of mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
It's a practice of present moment awareness, and there are two main parts: attention and acceptance. The attention piece is the focus on what's happening in the present moment. And the acceptance piece involves observing without judgment. So, and you get to choose where you place your attention and for how long. So let's say I was doing a breathing mindfulness meditation. I would just be aware of my breath. And I wouldn't try to control my breath. I would just be aware when I was inhaling and when I was exhaling. And I might just do that for a minute. But I wouldn't judge myself during it. I wouldn't say, oh, I'm breathing too fast, or I'm breathing too slow, or any of that. I would just notice the breath for that time that I've allotted myself. Now, there's other types of mindfulness meditations besides breathing. You can focus on any of your senses, such as hearing or sight. You can even focus on how you walk and breathe at the same time. Or how about eating and tasting your food? That's a really fun one. And it's helpful for weight loss too. There are several significant benefits, mental health benefits of practicing mindfulness meditation. Would you like to hear about those now?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So, first, of course, it helps reduce stress because it promotes relaxation and decreases cortisol levels. It helps break the cycle of negative thinking, and that's repetitive and known as rumination. And when you break that cycle, it alleviates depression and anxiety also. This kind of meditation also enhances self-awareness. And that can lead to better decision making and also fosters a kinder, more compassionate attitude toward oneself. And that reduces self-criticism, self-blame, and promotes healthy self-esteem. There's more. This type of meditation enhances attention and focus and improves problem-solving ability. It also is linked to higher levels of overall life satisfaction and enjoyment of daily activities and experience. What I thought was really interesting is it's associated with interpersonal forgiveness. So that's not only is our individual forgiving tendency enhanced, but levels of forgiveness regarding past offenses that have happened to us is also enhanced. And we have more empathy for others because mindfulness meditation helps us shift our perspective and be able to experience our feelings without reacting to them. It helps people respond to emotional triggers in a more balanced and non-reactive manner. And because of this ability to shift perspective, and we become more objective about our experience, especially when we're thinking we're connected to everything that is. You know, it gives you a much bigger perspective. So those are some of the benefits.
So let me just jump in for a minute. One of the things that you mentioned was something that I think is so critical. We always talk about attention and focus, and how that really works itself out positively for us in life. We have a truth that we speak about in Unity, the law of mind action, thoughts held in mind, and I emphasize that held, that thoughts focused on in the mind produce after their kind. So when we can mindfully give our attention to that which we desire, when we can mindfully put ourselves in a place where we can receive, where we can get intuitive nudges that tell us what's the next thing for us to do on our spiritual journey, then I think that's invaluable for us to use that mindful meditation, that aspect of it, to give our attention to that which we want to see expand in our life. Donna, let's come back to that mindful meditation and talk about what are the things that would be included in a mindful meditation.
Okay, so I have some pointers. Let's imagine we're going to do a meditation on hearing, just hearing. Not thinking about what we're hearing, but just hearing. So first we would either close our eyes or lower our gaze. When we lower our gaze, it helps the mind stop wandering. It's really cool how it works. Try it if you've never tried it. And then we would take a few deep breaths and long exhales and allow our body to relax and settle into the present moment. And we'd probably start by focusing on our breath, and that will help center our attention as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And I do that for a few moments. That's usually how you start a meditation when you're doing a service.
Yeah,
and it's very helpful.
That's the way I love to do it. And I liked what you said earlier, noticing the breath. There are, dozens of patterns to breathe in that come from various spiritual traditions, but the key is that we're really noticing our breath.
Yeah, and the air when it moves in your nostrils, and the sigh that you make and how your belly contracts or expands. That's really fun stuff to notice. But on this, we're going to do a listening. So we're going to shift from the breath to open our ears. And we're going to pay attention to the sounds that we're hearing. Again, we can just maybe do this for a minute, just 1 minute, and it will still give you benefits. You can increase it if you like it, but even just to try it for 1 minute. So you notice both the obvious sounds and the subtle ones. Like the hum of an appliance would be a subtle sound. And maybe like the cat meowing might be louder, depending if it was dinner time or not. And if your mind starts wandering, you gently bring your focus back to listening. And you use the sound as an anchor to stay in the present moment. And then you start to notice the different qualities of sound, the volume, the pitch, how long it lasts, where it's coming from, the location, and how the sounds kind of overlap and interact with each other. And are there any pauses or silence between the sounds? And you allow the sounds to come and go naturally without trying to hold on to any of them or push any of them away. Then you return to your breath after a few minutes, or 1 minute in this case. Shift your focus back to your breath, take a few deep breaths, bring your awareness back to your surroundings, and open your eyes gently, and then just take a moment to notice how you feel.
I think that's great. Let me jump in here. I think let's try it. Why not just do a little exercise together with us? And we'll kind of go with that 1 minute thing. Let's do that. And so I want to just mention another couple things as we get into it. But find yourself in a comfortable place. If you can get some contact with the earth, like your feet on the floor, then you're more grounded. It's easier to become centered. And then turn your attention to your breath. As you breathe in, breathe out. Notice that air as it circulates through your body. You are noticing your breath, and that breath is life. Oh, a thought might come in. Thought comes in, and you gently, just like you're walking up. New puppy dog, you just kind of guide that puppy dog back to the path that you're on instead of where that puppy dog was going. Those thoughts are puppy dog thoughts. Guide them gently back to that place of focus, of awareness. So in that quietness, do nothing for a moment except be.
Are we doing a listening meditation?
We will be. We're going there.
Okay.
And in that being, allow your physical senses to come alive again, particularly your hearing. And wherever you are, give your attention to the ambient sound that's in your space. You can identify it to start with, but hear it. Hear its pitch, hear its impact, and just so you can become one with that sound. And listen more deeply. What are the aspects of that sound? What do you notice the more you listen? You are here now. Listen. Reaping the benefits of that quietness, that holy quietness. Sometimes it's good not to have any more thinking going on, but just to be. Even let that listening ebb away. And now come back to your present moment of aware of your physical situation. Breathe again. Bring yourself back. If you've had your eyes closed, open them. maybe some little body movement, so you know you're here in this physical environment where you are at this point. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Well, I can send a transcript of the steps of this listening meditation if you send me an email message. Our email address
Let me put that slide up again, Donna.
yeah, it's on the first slide that we had up. And you can go back to the beginning of the recording to find that.
Oh, here it is.
Double click.
Sometimes it's... Well, I'll put it at the bottom.
Many thanks to Rick for the logo. Using his logo, he just came up with for us. The website is unityofpayson.org if you want to find out more about our church and the activities we have going on. There are many activities on this Zoom channel. And you can go to unityofpayson.org to find that Zoom channel. And there are our email addresses on the screen.
We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube, which is where it's posted, a comment would be great. A brief comment will be even fine, or even some response, a like, or something, to let us know you're kind of there with us. It's as though we've extended our conversation to you. And I would repeat Donna's invitation to join us at Unity of Payson for any of our activities. They're listed on our website. Many small group activities, many of them virtual, some only virtual, some both hybrid, and virtual and in person. And of course we meet in person for our Sunday service.
At 10 a.m. Arizona time.
Yeah, Arizona time is funny, so
we actually stay the same all the time. Everybody else changes.
We're so delighted that you joined with us today. And we'll see you again. At this point, every month we'll introduce the theme that we're working with on that month,
and
some
theme,
aspect of it.
Oh, by the way, the theme at Unity for this month is expressing our divinity. And we're looking at the four omnis. Do you want to say something about the four omnis?
You probably heard the four omnis. Well, you probably heard of three of them anyway. Omnipresence, and that's what we talked about quite a bit in our conversation here. Omniscience, omnipotence, but I think there's one other principle that's so basic to the nature of the divine and to our nature as all, because we have the divine living in us, the Christ within us, we call it. And that is omnibeneficence. I just like that word.
You might want to define it.
All goodness, all goodness. When we say it's all good, but that has a depth of meaning as well. So if you can, join us on the Sunday mornings, and we'll have a message about each of these omnis. We did omnipresence today, next week omniscience, and then omnipotence, and finally omnibeneficence. So thank you for being with us. Do comment. Let us know that you've connected with us here.
Can you stop the screen share just momentarily?
And we will, yes, stop the screen share.
So we can do a blessing, bless out?
Yeah. Yeah, I love to do this. There's an energy within us, divine energy with each of us. So even though we may not know you or know who is it, that energy that comes from being a divine creation, being divine ourselves, expressing our divinity, flows between us. We're grateful.
Many blessings.